You don't know how I've been longing for this.
Feel the heat with StarSat.
Tech Talk brought to you by Tamani Technologies and Systems. Tamani Technologies and Systems takes leadership in fourth industrial revolution. The whole world is facing a transformation. The revolution will be developed into the following stages: digitization, cyber security, Internet of Things, managed services, document management, and business applications. We provide business transformation and ICT solutions with presence in 13 African countries and 2 European countries. We are your leading partner in integrated platform providers, innovation leaders, standalone products, and innovation pace setters. Tamani Technologies and Systems, delivering value across continents.
Hello. The fourth industrial technology era has forcefully changed how every profession has been working for its clients. The world has become smaller than what we used to think. Imagine the ease of talking to a person who is in Australia, China, or Germany while you are in South Africa, as if you're just next door. The ease that globalization and the fourth industrial technology have brought to humanity entail doing business anywhere in the world as long as you have the purpose and the means. It is our expertise as MB Chabangu Incorporated to advise clients immigrating to South Africa on various permits and on opportunities for travelers who intend to sojourn in South Africa for a longer period of time.
Ṣé ayé náà ti kéré ju èyí tí a rò lọ. Nítorí náà ìmọ̀ wa ní ìsìlọ àti òfin àgbáyé. Ṣé wá ní ọ́fíìsì àkókò lórí àwọn ìṣòwò ilé àti ìgbaniláyé láti gba ìwé ìrìnnà fún iṣẹ́ òkòwò.
Ho MB Chabangu Incorporated re ba eletsi dinotari le basebedisi le di office tsa rena kwa Pretoria, Johannesburg le Bloemfontein. MB Chabangu Incorporated e humanega ga bonolo go bareki ba rena. Go humana tlhagiso leseding ka botlalo re kgopela le re leletse mogala go 012 341 4187 go ba le re ngwalele lengwalo tsebile go admin@chabangu.co.za. MB Chabangu Incorporated, mo mathata a humanago tharollo.
Feel the heat.
I love Adam Selman.
The girls are really thin. I think it looks very glamorous from the outside.
The life of a model in New York City.
There is such cool prints. So many.
You know, I'm buying this.
Look at me and all the selfie sort of thing. Honestly, I didn't really know that was actually a job. It just didn't occur to me.
Congratulations. Feel the excitement. Feel the heat with StarSat.
Welcome back again. If you have just joined us, we welcome you right here on Pan Africa Morning, broadcasting live in the Republic of South Africa. Of course, it is just gone after 8 o'clock in the morning. It's time for us to give you the news headlines. And probably before we can get to the news headlines, I must introduce to you that I have got the one and only, the most beautiful Miss Fabienne Francis, who's an author of a book which is called Personality. It's a personality Personality book. We are going to get into that just shortly. Here are the news headlines. President Cyril Ramaphosa says that the country is not yet free as the GBV escalates. And DSTV takes over ABSA as Premier Soccer League's major sponsor. And experts warn against funding South African Airways. And in other stories, of course, Gautrain network has expanded, or there's a plan to expand Gautrain to other Gauteng's major townships. And 21 MPs in Kenya have been told to vacate the parliament with immediate effect. And US President Donald Trump remains ambivalent on power transfer talks. These are the stories that we had for you this morning. But as I said earlier on, right now we are joined by Frances. Good morning, Miss Frances. How are you doing?
Good morning, Susanda. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. I must say, you're looking absolutely amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. And I must compliment you. You look so gorgeous, an absolute African queen. And of course, celebrate Heritage Day of yesterday.
No, definitely. Thank you so much. And I would like to find out, what did you do yesterday on a Heritage Day, Frances?
I was very, very lucky. I spent it with some amazing business associates and friends. We had a wonderful South African braai with all the wonderful food and meats and champagne, and we really celebrated the day. It was wonderful.
Oh, that's great. Last time you were here, Fabienne, we did speak about your new book. The other one wasn't yet officially released, the Love book. Now we understand that this book is out now. It's available to be sold and, of course, to be purchased by the public. But what is more important is that you are a personality, analyst, if I could put it like that, where you study personalities and get to understand, and you can actually identify people's personalities. And this comes in handy at this moment as we are facing very, very high rates of gender-based violence and stuff like that. If we can start, are we in a position to start seeing types of people that actually you say, you know what, this person is more prone to be abused, and maybe this person is more likely to be the abuser?
Yes, Susanda, that's a very important question. I think today the most important thing is that we must do everything that we can to fight gender-based violence. And because it is always based on relationships,
yes,
it is intimate partnerships that results in abuse. It is absolutely essential that we work on the relationships between people. And your question is, yes, there is 3 main personality types that we discuss in my books. And the Love book especially, I focus and I look at the compatibilities between personalities. We have an entire chapter on abuse. And in this chapter, we really look at, as you requested, certain personalities that is more prone to be abusive than others. One of our personality types, we call it our dynamic leader, our red personality type. Their coping strategy in life is to cope with aggression. Their motto is, if I can fight you, you cannot hurt me. So they will try to resolve issues with violence. And therefore, it is very important that people in a relationship, they understand each other, so that you can communicate on a level that you can actually try and reduce that risk to be actually attacked. But once again, it does not mean that none of the other personality types can be abusive. They will just abuse in a different manner. For example, your green personality type, the way that they cope with life is that they say, if I can make you love me, you can't hurt me. So they will be more inclined to actually act in emotional abuse. And then, of course, you have your purple personality type, which is the analytical thinker. Their coping strategy is, if I withdraw, you can't hurt me. So they will also abuse. They will abuse using social media. They will retreat, they will not communicate, passive aggression. So all of the personalities can abuse, but in different manners.
Yes. Recently, I mean, you've just touched on the issue of social media. There is a whole lot of, words going around, and people are saying that maybe you should take out the pictures of your children because they could get, kidnapped through your social media platforms. People are looking. And what is the importance of parents getting to follow up and noting what their children are doing? Who are they getting to talk to? And at what conversations are being held by their children? Of course, the Facebook people, they can start there at the age of 13. They could access Facebook. So why is it important for parents to get to know what their children are doing without, of course, stempling on their right of privacy? Because that's another thing. They'll be like, Mom, but this is private. Why do you want to know what I'm doing?
Yes. It's a very important question, Sasanda, because currently our teenage rate of suicide is also the highest in the world, and we know a lot of that is a result of teenagers actually attacking, abusing, emotional abuse, social media abuse on the social platforms.
Yeah.
What is important is that parents must actually understand their child's personality type.
Yes.
And the only way that we can address this is by actually conducting workshops and training both for parents and for children. Because parents must be aware that if my child is a green personality, for example, a natural communicator, they absolutely love social media, and they can be very naive. So they will communicate because they just want to be loved by everybody, and they can easily open up themselves for possible meeting appointments and can result in abuse or even murder of these children. And for example, a red personality is also a child that will take a risk. So our parents need to know. They need to understand the personalities of the children. And then of course our teens. We are releasing very soon a teenage book, personality teenage book. And we need to conduct workshops. We need to go to the schools. We need to go to that environment and have boot camps and wonderful workshops for these teens and actually inform them. Because many of them don't understand the dangers of social media.
Some other people would say, reading a book is different from reality. You can't really take what is in the book and put it into practice. And a lot of people have designed, or maybe written some books based on their experience, based on what they know, based on what they've seen. But until maybe somebody say, until you walk into my shoes, you really would never understand what I am going through. What difference does your book have from many other books that talks about, people's lifestyles and how they treat themselves?
So Sandra, the book is really based on people, on real situations. I very often get people that come to me and they say to me, Fabienne, I don't know who I am anymore. I've lost my identity. I don't know my purpose. I don't understand my emotions.
Yes.
And what I've done with the book, there is a questionnaire that you answer. And once you've answered this questionnaire, you actually receive your unique personalized personality report.
Yes.
So it's real. It's not based on my experience, it's based on science. I talk about you. If you read the book and you answer the questionnaire and you read your actual personality report, people come to me and say to me, Fabienne, that's me. You get me, you understand me. And in relationships, that is what is so important, because we need to start restoring marriages. We need to start restoring relationships, because if a relationship doesn't work, if a marriage doesn't work, it creates conflict. And that can be the result of domestic violence.
Yes.
That's where it all comes from. So that's where we must take action. And buy the book, by reading the book. And then, of course, if you want to have more information, by attending a workshop or a love relationship weekend retreat, you actually find out, but this is how we can address it. There's no reason for aggression
Yes.
and domestic violence.
So basically, you are saying that your book, you are not the one who tells the person who you are. By the virtue of you answering the question, you will discover yourself, who you are yourself. It's not that you are going to tell me who I am. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, because it's based on personality analysis.
Yes.
And it's been there since the beginning of times.
Yes.
You know, we all fall into a certain personality group.
Yes.
You can call it a personality tribe.
Yes.
And you can almost predict the behavior of a person.
Yes.
But it's all about you, who you are.
Yeah.
And the importance is to understand why you behave a certain way. And I also believe that for the abusers, the men in our country, the men in Africa that abuse their partners, abuse their women, abuse children, they need to be trained. They need to be educated. They need to understand why are they experiencing this anger.
Yes.
Because that's the only way that we can really stop domestic violence and gender-based violence, is to actually address the cause of it. You know, today in the media all over the world, people are talking about women lives matters, gender-based violence, but nobody is really going to the root of the problem, and that is relationships. It's personalities. You know, personalities meet and they combine and they work or they clash. And by actually helping people to have good relationships, that's the way that you can address it.
You know, now when we're going into this relationship part of our discussion now, you mentioned a very important point, that when you say the source of everything is when people are getting into a relationship. Probably they don't even understand each other, they don't know each other, and subsequently this causes any disagreement ended up being violent and stuff. Why is it important for one to analyze your partner intelligently before hopping into a relationship with that person? And what are the things that one needs to look for? Because most of the cases, we fall in love with what we see with our naked eyes. It's about, oh, this woman, she's so gorgeous, she's got a beautiful figure, and you don't necessarily look into, you know, what is inside this person.
Sandra, this is the most important issue. I always say, by finding a life partner, by entering a relationship with another person, will be the biggest investment that you'll ever make in your life. It will affect everything. It will affect your happiness, your joy, your lifestyle, your peace, all of it.
Yeah.
And so rightly what you said is that when people fall in love, they fall in love with a persona.
Yes.
Because very often when we meet somebody, we really pretend to be the best person. Some people even try to become the person that they think that their potential love interests want, and they're not authentic. So you fall in love with a person, but you actually end up living with their personality. And what I do in the love book as well, there's also a questionnaire that asks you, what are you looking for in a partner?
Yes.
For example, if I am a very adventurous, impulsive person and I like to do fun things and going bungee jumping and going to the airport on impulse and flying to Cape Town for the weekend, but my partner is more reserved and serious and always challenging me and say, but I don't want to do that. You know, those are all causes, you know, that can cause conflict. So when you actually enter into a relationship, it's important to see how compatible you are.
Yes.
Because, you know, all the chemistry and the hormones, it only lasts so long. And then you actually look at the reality. And the person might be doing things, challenging you,
yes,
refusing to share your views.
Yes.
And this causes resentment. And the biggest problem with resentment, it builds up into people. And then eventually what they do is they lash out. And it can result then in serious problems. So the best way is, before you enter a relationship, be objective. You know, the love book is the science of understanding love. You know, and rather look also for somebody that you know shares your views.
Yeah.
And it's going to be an easier relationship for you. And if you should walk into a room and you fall in love, like you say, Sasanda, with the beauty, or there's a strong chemical reaction, and you then actually realize as you go along that this person doesn't really have the personality type I wish for, if you have a knowledge of personalities, you know how to actually compromise. You know how to communicate. You know how to understand that person. And you can have a good relationship.
Yes, you know, there are people that get into a relationship and say, you know what, I think he's not that type of a person that I would love to be with, but I'll change him. I will make him be who I want him to be, and vice versa. And the other one says, yeah, if you love me, you'll understand me for who I am, and stuff like that. How do we work out, you know, a relationship in that way when we come in with expectations to change a person? Is it even possible to change someone in a relationship?
Sasanda, I say in my book is that you must find a partner, but with realistic expectations. The biggest mistake that you can do in life is to try and change another person. A person has a right, every one of us has a right to be who we are. And the minute one partner tries to shape and change that person, that is when there is problems. That is when conflict arises, because you cannot change a person. We are born with our personalities. It's in our DNA. The only way that a person can change is, for example, if I use my personality in a negative manner, I can decide to use my personality in a very positive way. And then suddenly somebody would say, oh, wow, look, you know, Sasanda is a changed person. It's not that you've changed your personality. You have just maybe chosen to use it in a more positive manner. But you should allow your partner to be who they are.
Now, looking at the ages, you know, some people would say that age is just a number. I could be in a relationship with whomever I love. But is there even an age gap that is acceptable or that is doable in a relationship? And if so, why is it important that you mind the age, you would say? Not just, we're not talking about, of course, the age between a minor and an adult. We're just talking about when people are actually in a relationship. Do I have to look into any specific age group, and why is that?
You know, Sasanda, in the love book as well, I talk about age differences. And age differences, of course, is a very personal subject for everyone. You know, there is some people that can have a very good relationship with somebody that is much older than them. And there's some people that just cannot do that. And what I also believe that it is very much based on the compatibility of the personalities, the understanding between these two individuals. And of course, in an ideal world, you know, we want our young people between the age of 20 and 30 to make the right choices. You know, because that is the age, of course, when you really go out there and you're looking for a life partner. And this is also the people that we need to educate. And, you know, at iDNA, we try and do that with workshops and weekends for single people, where they actually can meet and where they actually understand the importance of finding the right personality type that suits them. And should there just be a strong attraction, like I said earlier, and they fall in love with somebody that's not the personality type that they wished for, at least they know how to actually manage that personality with realistic expectations.
So you also on the other side saying age is just a number. I could be in love with a person who is 30 years older than me.
Yes, you know, like I said, Sasanda, it really is a very personal experience. There is people, and of course it has its own challenges, you know, because if there is an extreme age difference, there's lots of challenges, and that makes it even more important to be very realistic before you enter into a relationship like that you know that the dynamics and the generation difference will affect it on many levels. And you need to be very much prepared to face those challenges. But nothing is impossible in love.
No, of course, of course. It's time for us to take a very short break. When we're coming back, we are going to still continue with this conversation. If you've got questions for Fabienne, please do drop them on our social media platforms. We are going to be more than happy to ask those questions on your behalf, and she will answer you right here live on television. Whatever type of question that you have, either concerning the relationship or you have got a personality-based question, you just don't want to understand who you are, or maybe you have a child that you're like, hey, Francis, Fabienne, Francis, I don't understand my child anymore. How can I deal with this? So please do drop your questions as we take a very short commercial break. Stay with us.
Tech Talk brought to you by Tamani Technologies and Systems. Tamani Technologies and Systems takes leadership in fourth industrial revolution. The whole world is facing a transformation. The revolution will be developed into the following stages: digitization, cyber security, Internet of Things, managed services, document management, and business applications. We provide business transformation and ICT solutions with presence in 13 African countries and 2 European countries. We are your leading partner in integrated platform providers, innovation leaders, standalone products, and innovation pace setters. Tamani Technologies and Systems, delivering value across continents.
Welcome back again. If you have just joined us, we welcome you with the radio, of course, on Galaxy Universal Network. Let's give you the first top story, which actually comes very closely to what we are talking about right now. President Cyril Ramaphosa says that gender-based violence is not part of South Africa's traditions, customs, or heritage during his 2020 Heritage Day virtual keynote address. He also called on society to continue fighting against gender-based violence amid the public outrage over a recent string of crimes against women and children. Ramaphosa said that so long as the country's women and children live in fear of violence, we cannot regard ourselves as totally free. Of course, he added that as long as women are being harassed, abused, beaten, raped, and some murdered, we cannot say that we are a civilized society. The president said abusing women is not our tradition, nor it is our custom. It is not and will never be our heritage. He also commended those seeking traditional medicine or medicinal techniques to help find a cure to the coronavirus pandemic. This is the world races as the red races to find a vaccine against the virus. South Africa remains among the top 10 countries with the most COVID-19 cases, having recorded over 665 infections. Ramaphosa says that this year's Heritage Day is taking place in a shadow of COVID-19 pandemic. This pandemic has taken a toll on human lives, communities, and our economy. And this time of the pandemic, we have seen and acknowledged the fact that medical plans have come into increase. As much as we are joining the international community in the search for diagnostics and the therapeutics and also the vaccine, we are also looking for a real and important contribution of indigenous knowledge system, particularly traditional medicine, that can also play a key role in improving our health care outcomes of our people. Fabian, as we were actually reading that a story from the president, he is of course talking against the gender-based violence. As we continue with our conversation, there is something that I want to know from you, if you can give us a clarity and of course an explanation of what is hypergamy, hypergamy in your understanding. What do you understand about the term hypergamy?
Well, that is the interesting question, Susanda. What I wanted to just mention before we forget it, as I was listening, you reading the news, I do agree with the president as well, is that gender-based violence is not part of the African culture. I don't accept that it's part of it. I do believe that it is lack of information. It is actually lack of training and informing the men of our country. There is reasons for this violence, and I think also that it is really time right now that we stop talking, trying to label it, trying to find excuses, or trying to just emphasize consistently that we have a huge pandemic, but nothing is being done. And that's why I feel that it's time now, firstly, that we start arranging for training. I actually thought about it this morning, and I said to myself, we should actually go into the workplace, and it must be compulsory for everybody in that workplace, men and women, to get actually workshops in gender-based violence. The men need to be trained, and they need to understand why this happened, what they can do to not to act violent, and also the serious consequences. Because I think the lack of actually producing results and ending this pandemic against women and children is that there's no serious consequences for men. They are getting away with it because they realize that it's only talk.
Yes.
If you look at the police and the forensics, for example, you will find out that there is so many cases that is on backlog. At the moment, just DNA testing at forensic labs in the country is in a backlog of 28,500 cases. There is 200 new cases per day. Now, if the police do not have, or the courts do not have, the DNA evidence in these cases, how can they legally prosecute these men with successful outcome?
Yes.
So if you go into the workshops and you actually train these men, and you firstly try and address it, try to restore their relationships, getting them anger management programs, then you can actually change that. But at the same time, there should be serious consequences, for these men.
Yeah, do you know, when you were saying that you would disagree with the president when he says that gender-based violence is not in our culture, on the other hand, I think I know where the president is coming from, because as Africans, we have been raised in a manner where men were supposed to be protectors of women. Women were always seen as the vulnerable parts of in the society, and the responsibility of men, the safety of women always lay on the hands of a man. I mean, in our African tradition, in our cultures as well, there's even a way in which when you're walking with the man, a woman needs to be on his right hand side, so that he's able to protect a woman. And also, when a person knocks in the house at night, in a house of an African man, there is always this thing of saying a man needs to be the one going to open the door in case there is danger. This means that a man will be the first to attend to that type of problem. So it's I think when he is saying now we need to remember our heritage, we need to remember where we're coming from. It is not in our caste, in our culture. It is not in our heritage for men to abuse women. So definitely, he's quite correct in that manner. It's not part of our heritage. It is not part of who we are. It's not part from where we come from. I think the pressure of the society have now changed our men, have changed our people to make them, want to become something else. And I think that is something that needs to be addressed. A question that I want to pose to you, to say to you, don't we think that us as women as well, because we are on daily basis speaking about men did this, men did that, but we forget about addressing the provoking events that causes this man to become violent. Now, if I am a woman having expectation from this man to buy me this and buy me that and do me A and Z, and in the end he has expectations, he expects me to behave in a certain way, he expects me to do certain things for him, and if I am unable to then comply to his demands, then automatically he feels being disrespected. He feels that my needs are not being provided for while I'm providing for your need. Then you are not being fair. Yes. Now you need to be punished. Are we also looking at the role that we as women play in this violence, because we in Zulu we always say that meaning that you would never find a smoke where there is no fire. There are cases, of course, that men just go crazy. A person maybe drinks, he comes back home and be violent for no reason. But in some cases, these people are being provoked by something. Are we in a position to address those provocations? How can we teach our women? How can we teach our girls not to find themselves in those situations?
Sisanda, this is a very important question, and thank you for asking it. I do believe that women has a vital role to play, because as women we also need to take responsibility for our own safety. And we come back once again to personalities. If I have a man who is a red personality type, they are leaders. They are the men that want to go out there and they want to take leadership within the home, within the relationship. Yes. Now the problem what you have, if you have a red personality woman who's also a leader, and in custom, as you pointed out as well, in traditions, the man should always be the leader, and now suddenly he has a very strong personality of a woman that is challenging him. There's a wonderful African proverb that says, if you marry thunder, do not be afraid of lightning. So the problem that we have in a lot of abusive cases, not all of it, is when you have these two red personality types and both are fighting for leadership. And then, of course, the man can become very aggressive. So for the woman to understand the personality and know how to address that man, yes, she can actually reduce that violent outbreak. But at the same time, there is no excuse whatsoever for a man to abuse a woman, no matter how big the provocation is. It is never excused. Abuse is unacceptable towards women and children. But as women, if you read this book and you know the personality type of your partner, you definitely will know how to communicate and how to bring the best out of that person. Because you must also remember, Susanda, if you treat somebody very badly or you have unrealistic expectations of a partner, you will bring out the worst in that partner. And a good, happy relationship is when you can bring out the best in one another and where there's a mutual understanding and respect. And that's where we need to go. Yeah. Is to really address those issues. Yes. We should go out on a campaign and teach people to understand each other. Yes. Because bring back, the real importance of love, relationship, marriages, where people can just be happy and respect one another.
Yes. Now, as a love expert, I would want us, or love personality expert, I would like to find out from you, is there love without money?
Love without money? Very interesting question. So, Sanda, in the book as well, we look at your love report. And there's the 7 main areas. And one of those areas is finances. Now, once again, you need to understand the personality type. If you are a red personality type, you like the big life. You like to be the queen that is extra, the man who's got everything. And money is an important issue within that relationship. So if there's going to be challenges with money, and there is no money, or there is conflict regarding money, that can cause serious conflicts. But then again, if you're a green personality type, you're more inclined just to love. You are not materialistic. Money is not important for you. You enjoy nature, you enjoy just being with somebody, communication, etc. And money is not an issue.
Mala,
so it depends on the personality.
Yes, sorry to cut you there, because I want to ask a following question. You know, I was speaking to someone, a very close friend of mine, and we're discussing the issue of money in a relationship. And he says to me, Sasanda, let's be realistic here. If you want to come and see me as your friend or whatever, what do you have to do? Do travel to me, right? Is it free to do that? Oh no, it's not free. Yes. So you need money. And if you want to talk to me, you need to call me, right? So if I say I'm in love with you, but I can't call you because I don't even have airtime to phone you, it means that then the relationship will not, would you still be in a relationship with a person who can't call you, who can't come and see you, who can't even maybe take you at the nearest supermarket and buy a bottle of Coke, and maybe you sit down and drink. So I was like, okay, that's important. That's very interesting, because I was saying to him, no, money doesn't, you know, you don't need money to love somebody. He says, no, Sasanda, you do need money to love somebody, because you're going to need to call that person, you know, to have to see this person. So then it comes back to this question as to, is money really not important, totally not important, or it's a certain amount of money that is not important?
Sasanda, money will always be important in life, in the fact that we need it. We live in a world where, as you mentioned, without money, there's very little that you can do. Money is freedom. Freedom to pick up the phone, freedom to meet with your partner, all of those things. My grandmother always used to say, she was a remarkable woman, and she said, my darling, when poverty comes in the front door, the love leaves at the back door. But as I mentioned earlier, I totally believe that it depends on the personality. There is people especially with a green personality type, that can find ways and means without having lots of money.
Yes.
They just find it. It's not important for them.
Yes.
They'll find the way. They will meet each other. If they have to walk, you know, a while to meet each other and have a picnic, you know, in nature, they'll do it.
Yes.
You know, so it's again based on the personalities. Some need money, definitely.
Yes.
And others, it's not a basis of their relationship.
Yes. So basically, you're all saying that it is important for one to understand the personality of a person that you're with, and in that manner you will be able to identify, to see if it's important for me to have money to be with this person, because this person, not because he loves me for money, but because he wants to be in certain places. This is the things that makes the person happy, and for you to be able to access those type of things, you are going to have money.
Exactly, and especially for certain personality types, if there is maybe the man loses his job and there is a challenge of money, this man wants to provide for the woman, and suddenly there's no means to do so.
Yes.
So the person is going to become very unhappy, and it can result in that man using his personality in a negative way, and he's going to want to actually express his frustrations.
Yes.
And that can ignite the aggression that is naturally within him.
Yes.
And he can lash out. So of course it's important. We need to look at it as a whole. We need to look at the relationships. We need to know what makes people tick, what makes them happy, what motivates them, what frustrates them, and then try and find a solution. You know, that's the most important thing.
Yes.
And if you as a woman then can understand that this is a very difficult situation for your man, maybe you are the breadwinner and your husband or your partner lost their job, that you can treat that issue very sensitively, but also try together with him, try and find a solution to make him feel like a man.
So there are women, of course, that end up, taking a very long time for them to get into relationships because they have a type that they need to choose from. And we are in a society where most of the cases, it is men that approach women to say, hey, listen, I think you are the girl that I want to be with. And the issue of the other way around is still very rare, which I'm going to ask you about it, if it's okay or not. But we're going to get into that question just shortly. What I still want to figure out is, is it important for one to have expectations and stick by them and say, listen, I need a guy like this. He must be tall, dark, and with six-pack and so, or just take whatever that comes your way and stop being choosy?
No, Susanda, I think it's very important to ask yourself that question. What do I want in a partner? You know, in the love book, there's a whole questionnaire, like I mentioned earlier, that actually asks you, and you answer and you tick all these boxes. The most important is the personality first, that you want a person that's maybe dynamic, but also got a great sense of humor, but is also loving and kind. And then the love book will actually tell you the best personality type for you is going to be a red, second green.
Yes.
And then, of course, there's other issues that you maybe like somebody with dark hair, or somebody with a six-pack, or somebody, with blue eyes.
Oh, with
we
a
all
big
have
stomach.
it. We all have it. So what I say, realistically, what you do is you know that the ideal person is going to be that red-green personality type who's 6'2", and then you try and find that personality. So what we're going to do, we have a lot of plans with iDNA, with a love book. We want to create also a love membership, a love program, an authentic love program, where we will create wonderful events on a regular basis in different locations all over the country, where single people can then actually come and they can enjoy and they can meet each other.
Yes.
So what you will do is, people will wear name tags. So somebody would say, I'm first red, second green. So when you arrive at that event, now you know that you would like a person with that personality combination because it's most suitable to you. So what we would like to do is to say, well, go out there, go in the crowd and go and look for those people. What is important is then to find one where you also have the chemistry.
Yes.
But on the other hand, Susanda, love can be so unexpected. You might arrive at this wonderful singles event and look through the crowd and try and find that red-green person, and suddenly your eye catches a quiet person standing in the corner, and there's a chemistry. You then walk to the person and you find out that they are a purple personality. It's absolutely the personality type that you actually don't want. You don't want a quiet, reserved, shy person. But there's chemistry. And what I'm saying then, as long as you have realistic expectations and you are prepared to compromise within that relationship, love can be enough.
Yes.
But don't then try and change him and say, oh, well, you're a purple, so now I'm going to make you a very adventurous person, and I'm going to grab you and I'm going to force you to do bungee jumping.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
you need to be realistic.
Yes, yeah, of course. I've got 3 questions for you, but before I get to the other 2, the first question will be, in your advice, how is it alike when women now have a choice in terms, can women have a freedom to choose, and not to just choose, but to approach guys and tell, I'm not sure on the other side if in your space is something common, but in my space where I come from, I'm a village girl, so it's totally an abomination for a girl to approach a guy and say, hey, I would like to date you. How is that going?
Susanda, I believe that women absolutely should go out there and approach a man if she wants to. Again, you will have the red personality type and the green personality type, which is the extroverts. and they don't have a problem. They like to break the rules, and they have the courage to stand up and say, you know, I'm going to approach the guy. When you come to the introvert personality, the purple personality, it's naturally not in their DNA to approach because they're more shy and they're more introverted. But I think part of the change in society is that women should feel confident enough to approach a guy, because there's also lots of guys out there, our purple men, who are very shy, and they are too shy to approach a woman, and they'll be very happy if there's a confident woman that comes to them. But then again, if you can profile the person, you know, in 3 minutes, which I teach you in the workshops, you know what kind of personality type they are, so you even know how to approach them, not to offend them.
So do people, first and foremost, how easy it is for one to get to read your book? Because sometimes if somebody is sitting there and having this long list of a book and you have to go through this and stuff, how easily accessible and understandable for people to get to know the information that is in this book?
So Sandra, this is a beautiful book. It was done in a magazine style.
Yes.
So with lots of beautiful photographs and colorful pictures. So it's not a book that is just intimidating when you open it and it's only text. It's really an artwork. And it's done in a manner which is very, very easy to understand. We're also busy to create the audio book. So maybe if you're not somebody that is very fond of reading, you can get the audio book, and you can be in your car driving to work or going home in the afternoon, and you can just listen to the book. And we even have a male voice and a female voice, so you can even choose what appeals more to you. There's many ways, but it's a very easy and a very beautiful book.
How much is this book? Is it a book affordable? Because now we can come in and say, okay, I would love to understand who I am and stuff like that, but probably this is something for the elites. If the book is so expensive, then maybe I cannot afford it.
Not at all. You know, Sasanda, this book addresses absolutely everything. Everything concerning love. It can be your love guide for the rest of your life. The e-books, of course, is not as expensive. So you can also get it online at www.idna.world. But if you purchase it on, you know, the actual book, it's in the region of 380 Rand. And at exclusive books, of course, exclusive books add their pricing, and you're looking at about 400 Rand. But the e-book and the audio book is more affordable. And if you really think about it, you invest 380 Rand and you've got an absolute love guide for the rest of your life. It will also enable you to be a profiler. So when you meet somebody, one of the biggest problems in life is when you meet somebody and somebody pretends to be someone they're not. Once you've read this book, nobody will ever be able to fool you. You'll be able on that very first date to sit with them. You'll be able to analyze them by looking at their way of dress, their body language, the way they speak, and you'll say, oh no, I see you.
Not this guy. So in closing, Fabienne, how will this book, contribute towards the gender-based violence?
So Sandra, I believe that this book is crucial. It can really, firstly, it can help people to understand one another, how to have healthy relationships so that there is not actually domestic violence. So this book will teach you everything, how to communicate, how to understand. It's also a healing book for women who has been abused, for them to understand what is love and what is not love. There's an extensive chapter on gender-based violence. So this book can really help to actually address the cause of the problem.
No, thank you so much, Fabienne. Your words, lastly, in closing, we understand that gender-based violence, actually, we understand we have always been pushing GBV, but there are men as well that are being abused at the hands of women that claim that they love them. We have seen incident of women dying at the hands, of men dying at the hands of women. What are we, or what can you say with that matter, on regards to that matter?
What I would like to say, Susanda, is that if you are a victim of abuse, whether you're a man, a woman, or a child, please reach out and get help. Get help before it's too late. And also for the communities to be alert and to be aware and look out. And if you know that there's abuse happening with a friend or in your community, please reach out. Let's break the silence on domestic violence. It's time.
Thank you so much, Fabienne. It's always a great pleasure to have you, and we hope to have you soon.
Thank you, Susanda.
Wish you all the best on the book, and we urge all of you guys there to go out and get the book at idna.world. That's where the book could be found, of course. And you said soon it will be on all exclusive books.
Yes, also
soon.
it will be an exclusive books as well.
Okay,
yes.
Awesome, great stuff. And we are going to, give you the news headlines and, just keep you on what we have gone through to today. Now, the Democratic Alliance interim leader John Steenhuisen celebrated Heritage Day in his kitchen and prepared his banicha with style, attaining the view that a single goal for all South Africans should be that of one nation. He answered different questions about elements found within culture and said that it should be known that culture is not intended to divide the people. However, it must be celebrated. As we move on, of course, with other stories, we looked into the story of the DSTV has confirmed that they are the new sponsor of Premier Soccer League ahead of the 2020-2021 season. The television company DSTV has replaced the banking giants ABSA, who recently ended their 13-year partnership with the Premier Soccer League. ABSA and the PSL recently ended their sponsorship relationship of the Top Flight League when their deal expired at the end of the recent 2019-2020 campaign. The announcement regarding the new league sponsor was made by PSL Chairman Ivan Khoza from the Supersport Studios in Randburg in Gauteng yesterday evening. The Dr. Khoza said that it is a synergy that is powerful in what it brings to supporters, and that the PSL continues to innovate and improve its products, which will have full backing of DSTV, whose offering requires evidence of local content. Of course, we have come to the end of today's news bulletin. We hope that you have enjoyed yourself with us. We would like to thank all of our viewers for continued support watching Galaxy Universal Network Channel 500 on Starsat, and also we would like to thank our guests, of course, and all our contributors that have spoken to us through Zoom, and those that we've spoken to through telephone. Would like to say thank you to you, and those that contributed to our social media. We appreciate your participation on this show. It is your show, you must own it. And of course, we would like to thank the rest of our Pan African Morning news crew for putting this successful program to be on your screens this morning. From myself, igama lami ke ngusisando nomosaka qabe khutho intombazane yaphansi kwamhlabi yalingana mfule ngophuza ngiphuzukelekele kanti inkomo zakithi ngayishiya zidla phansi emahlathini asekubandeni kanti ke zona siphuze ebhudlweni umfulo ohamba ngeslow motion kwesikwazibi isigodi kulangibuya khona ke ngathola amabombo ngabhekisa egoli kwantonga ziyaduma kwenye makayipheli kuphela amazinyo endoda maqede ke wenzeke umhlolo unomusa ukumabona kude. Until next time, South Africa, it's a goodbye from me.